What's going on, everyone? Dice Melon here, back today with another video. This video is super different, reacting to a video that I thought would be entertaining, for me at least. Since I have a somewhat of a vinyl collection, I would react and watch how vinyls are made, because I have no clue how they're made. So, let's get into it. Here we go.
Today, we're going to take you step by step through the vinyl record-making process, from cutting the record, to pressing the record, to making sure the sound and quality are good.
Good.
First, the lacquer cut. Most records you've heard have been done on lacquer. There is one company in the world that makes the lacquers that we use. It's called MDC. They're in Japan. It's basically the same as nail polish, but it hasn't fully hardened yet. The lathe is the machine that cuts the lacquer. This one is a 1974 VMS 70. They stopped making them in 1980. The stylus cuts the lacquer. It takes about 2.5 hours to cut a record. The excess, called the hot chip, collects at the bottom. The programmer is also an important part of the lathe. It holds all the details of cutting a 12-inch 33, 12-inch 45, or 7-inch 45, or even a 10-inch. It programs where the drop is and where the run-out groove goes. A 12-inch record has about 19 minutes of songs per side. That equals about, on average, 300 to 400 lines per inch with small grooves per side. The grooves create a sound as the stylus moves back and forth and up and down, creating vibrations. There's 127 things that can go wrong. If it's too hot while it's cutting, it burns the lacquer and falls on the lacquer and makes a noise. If it's too cold, it's not able to dig or cut through the lacquer well enough, and you get noise from it just trying to push its way through. So we're simultaneously heating it, and then we also have the helium to make sure it doesn't overheat. And because the lacquer is delicate, it's affected by heat, humidity, temperature, cat hair, greasy chicken fingers. So you can't blow on it to clean it, which is why we have the nitrogen. We need to make sure the lacquer stays clean during the cutting. We use nitrogen to clean the lacquer, and we use methyl ethyl ketone to keep the stylus clean. So the record is finished. It goes around twice, makes a lock groove, and pops up. And you wheel it over here, and clean it immediately. We bring the etching platform over here, and I etch in the matrix number by hand, which is very small and very difficult. So on this one, the matrix number is 1996. This is side A. I do TMM for third man mastering, TMP for third man plating. I used to put my initials, WMD, and someone was like, that's a little bit weird. So now I just abbreviate my name to WAR. And that is a finished record.
Once Warren is done mastering, we send the lacquer off to be turned into a stamper so we can manufacture records. This process is called electroplating, and it's done at an outside facility. The process of electroplating entails covering the lacquer in silver nitrate and dipping it into a nickel bath. The stamper is a reverse image of the lacquer.
Interesting.
Once we get the stamper back, we conduct test pressing and a quality check to make sure that the record sounds good. Every time they have to change a stamper, they go through a very stringent cleaning process. They clean the surface of the mold meticulously. They make sure there's no dust because it'll actually transfer through this. These things are not much more than 3-4 mils thick. So if you have like even a little bit of rust or like resin under the stamper itself, it'll show through in a visual nonconformance and actually can have playback issues on it. Once we have the artist's approval on the test pressing, we're good to go into production. First, we prep the labels and dial up the extruder. The extruder gives us about 200 grams of vinyl grade PVC, or polyvinyl chloride, that we place into the press. The pressing process itself is only about 45 seconds long.
That's cool.
The puck is very hot, around 300 degrees. When it's set into the pressing chamber, high pressure steam is being delivered into that mold.
All of the steam and chilled water pass through the center of the mold first and then travel to the outside. So as it's going under pressure, it's causing the material to flow from the inside out.
Your hydraulics will kick in to press that material and spread it out in the mold evenly and kind of hold it in place for a second while it's still heated. And then chilled water is introduced in there to cool the mold off, lock in the shape so that when it's removed, flashing can be trimmed off of the edges there. The general rule is after around 1,000 hits, you should be looking at any audio deterioration at that point. So paying closer attention to that, and our operators know on their counter, on their press, that where they're getting to. But you know, when the records are coming out and there's no divots and there's no flare-ups of any kind, it's kind of cool. You know, can't argue with something that sounds good.
We press any color you can imagine, all kinds of customs,
That's cool.
splits and eclipses, and all kinds of neat concentrates inside of color bases, but nothing really sounds as good as black. The different colors of PVC melt at different temperatures. We need to set the machines to specific temperatures depending on the color. For example, oranges and clears need to be run at cooler temperatures because they're much softer.
Once the record comes out of the press, we do a quick visual inspection. We look at the flatness and label orientation initially. Once we finish the visual inspection, we send it to an audio quality control check.
Audio issues that we're going to identify, things like swishy noise, for example. That could be just an issue with the material and how it was pressed, or it could be a problem built into the stamper. There is another thing that we refer to as stitching or no fill, where the material is not filling all of the grooves of the stamper. And then when it comes off, some of that material is just missing.
Once we listen to the record, we may also inspect the grooves.
Occasionally we'll find a record that when it's on the turntable, the stylus will kind of waver a little bit. That can have an effect on the audio depending on the frequencies and things like that can kind of alter. So when we see the needle wander a little bit, we'll take it and put it onto a microscope and do a measurement of how bad is the wavering, how far off does it go from center, and can actually set up a measurement as the record is rotating, and then he knows there's a certain number that we want to stay within.
If anything is wrong, we can do a variety of things, namely checking the settings at the press and with the press operator. If the record looks good, we will do the final step in the process. We place it on the spindle to let the vinyl flatten, then label, pack, and prepare the vinyl for shipping.
Vinyl is in the real world. It's not something that exists only on your computer or your phone. It's three-dimensional. Your nervous system is designed to take in the sound. It heals you. It's a nutrient. It's like vitamins. You feel it. It's like getting a massage or eating a beautiful sandwich.
Nice. Interesting. Well, now I know. Because I have a vinyl back there. Just got it. It's like a marble gray finish. I haven't played it yet, but it looks really nice. But hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, do your thing. And see you guys next time. Peace.